I want to play a game, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Millionth show. We're on series 2 now, and we are reviewing the Saw movie franchise. So that obviously means 9 episodes coming up, starting with Saw, made in 2004. Well, released in 2004.
Yeah.
Joined once again by my co-host Henry. How you doing, mate?
I mean, it feels weird that we're not, starting with something Batman related.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm a big Saw fan. I mean, I very much enjoy the film series. I mean, I binged it all in basically about a year ago in
Oh
the
yeah.
space of like, a week roughly. Like I was watching I watched like three of them in a row one night, like at 1
Really?
a.m.
So
Yeah, that
what's
was
your history with the Saw films? How old were you when you watched your first Saw film?
well, if it was last year, then I was probably
It was last
17.
year. Wow, because
Yeah.
for me, I think my villain origin story can be traced back to my relationship with the Saw films. I think because I remember when I was 12 or 13 at school, and one of my mates was like, "Yeah, James, oh, I don't know what he was thinking, man. I think this kid's in prison now as well." But he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, man, yo, what do you think of the Saw traps and stuff?" I'm like. What would you? He was describing one of them to me. I was like, oh no way. So
Yeah.
I went on YouTube, and
Bad
he was showing me
mistake.
some. I can't remember what context it happened in. I remember it was in chemistry class. I remember it very distinctly. These conversations. He was like, yeah. Oh, what about this saw trap? And he was like coming up with his own saw traps or something. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. So I went on YouTube when I was like 12, 13 years old, and I was
Oh yeah.
looking at yeah. I was watching all the saw traps. Um,
Yeah, that explains a lot on.
so I was like looking at saw traps on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, cool, man!" And then I started watching the films, and I definitely didn't watch them in order. I can't remember what order I watched them in. I didn't watch all of them. I watched probably half here, half there. I was very muddled with them.
It's not a hard order to get right, I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's not. But I don't know. For some reason, I think the first Saw film, the film that we're going to review now, was the one of the first. Was one of the last films I actually watched. Because it's funny. It's even though it's the first film, it's a slightly different format and tone and plot and style of traps to the rest of the franchise. And when I say the rest of the
Yeah.
franchise, I don't mean the latter two films. I mean the original canon block seven
Yeah.
films, right? And then they kind of made a couple of reboots, which we'll also cover.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, in terms of this
hopefully
film,
we'll
this
get
is
Saw X in the future.
yeah. I should add as well, by the way, as we're recording, it's the 30th of October, and we're literally gonna be as we record entering into Halloween on 31st of
Hmm.
October as we record. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, and I remember I saw the original one. I was 12 or 13 years old, and I watched it with one of my mates, and we watched it together. And the reputation that Saw films have, or as far as I was aware, was that it like had really bad plots, and that's obviously a reason not to watch them, which doesn't really make sense to me because at the end of the day, they're horror films. When I was young, I went through a big phase of watching all the horror films. The Saw films were always my favorites. Um, and yeah, when I remember watching this for the first time, and I was like actually quite surprised how good the plot was. I actually find the plot quite intriguing in this film. It's
Hmm.
actually a well written
It
film.
is,
Every
yeah, for a student film, it was like
Yeah,
essentially like especially when you watch it again, like you kind of appreciate
Mm.
it knowing like, the rest of what goes on the series and like all these
yeah,
like plot points and everything in it. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Or like, and sometimes there's so much happening that you kind of forget one element of it, and then you're surprised by something else later on. Like at the very beginning, like he wakes up in the bathtub, and then like for the first time I see it, I was like, what's going on? Second time I
Mm.
see it, I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that's the key going down the drain right there. And I was
yeah.
like, and then
What?
on the floor and everything, the corpse and so on and so forth, like it's just like it gives it a lot of rewatchability, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This film has a lot of rewatch value. I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen this film. It's not that
Don't want to
often.
know.
No, it's less than you do. It's less than you think. I've
Yeah,
probably
you've been
watched these.
studying or something.
I've watched each of these films probably about 3 times each, something like that. But like I said, I'm very like I'm a huge fan of all of them. I go back and watch certain traps. Like there's a YouTube series I watch. There's a great YouTuber out there who does videos of how to escape every Saw trap. That for some reason fascinates me. With like the easiest ones to cheat and all like easy ones, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I always find it a really interesting subject of conversation when I get to find someone else who's seen the Saw films. Like, oh, what's your favorite trap? Which one would you least want to get stuck in? I don't know. For me, that's like always an interesting conversation,
Yeah.
and usually the answers are really interesting. There's usually one that most people generally that I've spoken to agree on, but we'll get to it because it's not in this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
This
I think we both know which one we're on about.
probably the rack trap, right?
The one, no, for me, it's the clock one. You know, the one where it starts turning each limb until it turns your
That's the
head.
rack trap. You
Oh,
did.
it's called a rack trap. All right.
Get it
I
right,
just
man.
always
Get
think
your
of it as a
saw
clock
traps
trap.
right, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not. I've only seen these films once each, by the way. So you know, I'm not
Oh,
like
okay,
a.
okay, yeah.
Apart
Well,
from this one, I've seen twice. Obviously, had to
yeah. What
refresh
we're gonna
myself.
do is obviously there's not so much to rank within these films, but the rankings we're gonna rank the films themselves. We're gonna rank the endings, as in like the plot twists, and we're gonna rank the worst trap in each film. So we've
Hmm.
got three categories, and I think those are pretty much the most rankable things within the films because
Well,
it's not like there's Alfreds and Gordons and stuff, you know, like.
yeah. Could you really say there are Sigma quotes in these films from Saw, Jigsaw himself? I mean,
I don't know.
I've got
That's
some
an
spin
interesting
on it.
element. I didn't think about that when I was watching it. If I'm honest, I don't know. Did you pick up anything that we
I've
can?
got one. It's from the very beginning. I think it's just a
All right.
funny
We could
quote.
do it. We could do
I
it. We
think it'd
can,
be nice to keep the
in the
Sigma quotes
theme,
in.
in the spirit of the millionth channel, we can do a Sigma moment for sure. Um, I mean, some may say that John Kramer himself is a Sigma male, and later on
Yeah.
in the series, we definitely Mark Hoffman. I feel is a bit of a Sigma as well, actually. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the actual context of this film as well. In the build up to this review that we're doing, I watched a documentary about the making of this film. So I did a lot of preparation. I always find this film fascinating to research as well because I'm not going to go through everything, all the facts about this film because I think people, listeners can do that for themselves. But
We'll bring you the highlights.
yeah, I have a few highlights here. But the fact that this film really, like you said, was a student film. Not just that, it's two Australian film students
Hmm.
who
What
got
is that?
flown over.
You have a thing against Australians now, huh?
No, no. Well,
It
um,
was about, it was like $1 million budget, was it? Still,
yeah, yeah, it was. So
you know, that was a
these
lot
two
back in the day in
Australian
'60s, wasn't it?
students, they were like film students. They made this. They wrote this film. They were trying to get Australian studios to make it, and then a guy from California called them
Hmm.
and said, "Yeah, and it ended up being produced by Liongate, which is, and they made their own sub um, production house called
Yeah, Twisted Films,
Twisted
Twisted Pictures. Yeah.
Twisted Pictures, right? Just so they could release horror films under this name. So, and this was the first film of that. This film was a real trailblazer, not just for horror films, but for a specific category that's now become known as torture porn, right? Um, so, you know, this film, and yeah, like I said, it had $1 million budget, and it made about 100 million in the box office. So,
It's quite a good return on investment there.
sorry, 100 million?
I was gonna say.
Or 10 million? No, let me check. Let me check that. I want to hear
Yeah,
that. That's
either
an
way.
important one to get right. This did extremely well. I think it. Let me check. But what I know is for sure this film. I think it did make 100 million. Let me check. Yeah, 100 million, 103 million. Yeah, and I
Can you
think
imagine
this
being
this
their
is
students there?
yeah. I think this is one of the most successful films in terms from budget to box office, other than Rocky that I'm aware of. And Rocky again, a film that like came from very humble beginnings, very humble, more so than this. Um, and anyway, this isn't a Rocky
Yeah,
review, so
exactly.
I won't go into that. But yeah, these two Australian filmmaker students. This film was shot in 18 days. 18 days. They
Yeah, it
filmed.
beats, like films like No Time to Die, which took like 6 years to whatever.
Yeah, 18 days for this, like, that's unbelievable, you know. And the director James Wan, um, I've got a little link here to our Batman series, our Batman universe.
Yeah,
Did you know that James Wan, this is his first feature film, and he's gone on to direct Aquaman? Yeah,
I think I did know that
yeah.
very vaguely,
So
but
that's fine. Another fact about him that I had is that for this film, now this is a businessman and a man who believes in his film. He took no upfront salary for this film, for the making. He didn't take an upfront salary, and exchange he opted for a percentage of the film instead.
that's always good.
So yeah, especially in this case, so did very well
Yeah.
there. This film is amazing just to see how it developed into being. Originally it was going to go straight to DVD release, and
Hmm.
then it did so well in preview screenings and film festivals that they decided, yeah, we've got to get this out on in theaters. So
Yeah, good job they did that.
mm, I can't imagine what watching this must have felt like watching it in the cinema as well. I wish I could have experienced that.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you might be able to with Saw X, you know.
well, this is the thing, you know. I mean, Saw X is going to come out next year. I don't know what they're going to do with it. And going off the last two films could be anything, honestly. But we'll see. I mean, I'm
Well,
not
you know,
holding
I got
my
returning
breath.
Jigsaw actor, so
Sorry.
well, they got the returning actor for
Yeah, Tobin
Jigsaw.
Bell. Well, that's a good start.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. I
you
mean,
would have thought they'd
that
done it before, but you know,
yeah, that has a lot of potential there. But I think this is a franchise that means a lot. It's these films, the Saw films, are a guilty pleasure for me. I've watched too many horror films, you know, more than I cared, and you know, and beyond that, as you know, like my
yeah,
Telegram groups and stuff. But for me, I always come back to these films as a bit of a guilty pleasure. And I don't know. I'm very excited to get stuck in and start talking about them, talking about going through all the traps. These films, I mean, like we said, you know, with the Batman films, for example, I'd have 2 or 3 pages of notes for each film. For this film, I only have 1 page.
yeah,
Probably,
same, yeah.
I doubt it will go beyond that for the rest. Um, but
Well, they're
yeah,
straightforward films, really. Like they're straightforward and they are well written still, but
Hmm.
you know, it's just something you basically roll with it. You don't, and you know, a plot twist will come up, and then you have to kind of rethink it quickly, and it just keeps going. But it's not like it's. I wouldn't really call it thought provoking, really. Yeah,
well, it's interesting because these films they do
they
carry
push a
a
message.
philosophical message, which is quite
Well,
fascinating as well. You know, this is why this I believe this series has been able to be so successful and have the longevity that it's had, 18 years now, because it's it's it has really strong it has a strong villain character in John Kramer as an antagonist, and then obviously what he goes on to do in his subjects as well. Um, it's really interesting. It's going to be fun to actually like break it down in this film. And actually, you know, these films, it's not just torture porn. I think that's a very lazy, especially for this film. You could throw that at the rest of the films, but I think Saw itself, you know,
it's quite clever actually. Like,
it is. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we could get into it actually. This is such a very. I remember like first seeing this.
Hmm.
Um, you know, for the first time, like I'd heard a lot about Saw, but I'd seen like a couple clips, mostly from the second film. But the opening to this like had me really like not really off guard, but it wasn't the first thing I expected. It's like, you know, the guy waking up in the tub, and it's got these like shots of like, you know, this like weird glowing thing. You're not really sure what
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like he pulls the plug out, and it goes into the plug hole. And then, you know, later on you find out what that means and so on. And I'm like, and then the second time viewing, I'm like, oh shit, like,
Yeah, yeah. There's some great setups. I mean, yeah, Adam wakes up
yeah,
in the bathtub. Adam is played by
not Ezra Miller. He looked like him
no,
to me.
slips my mind now. Lee something. And he wrote this film as well. I have to get his name, man.
It's
It's
yeah, Lee Whannell.
Lee Warren, isn't it? Lee Wannell, sorry.
Yeah,
So
Whannell. I'm gonna call him that.
he wrote the film as well. He's the writer for this. Um, so he wakes up in the bathtub, and it's in the dark, and he hears Gordon,
Yeah,
Doctor.
he is. Yeah,
And yeah, and then he sees him. The lights come on,
yeah,
and
man.
they're
That's
both
the
in this. They're both trapped in the bathroom, chained to the pipes, and there's a body in between them,
yeah,
and a dead body. And they find some tapes in their pockets, some
yeah.
old
So they
school
start
cassette
playing.
tapes.
And I will say,
So
like, I will say as well, the first, yeah. So that was the first thing on this. The guy Adam looks a little bit like he looks like Ezra Miller if he had like a like a less sharp jawline to me. But I don't know why. Just they look like it to me. Black hair. That's it. But the only other thing was I when I saw this, I was like looking at Dr. Gordon. I was like, and I had to look at IMDb. I was like, this is fucking Jerry from Liar Liar, and because that's all
no
I knew.
shit, is it?
Yeah, it is Carrie. It was, and I was like, I because I'd seen it. If anyone's seen Liar Liar before, like,
Oh, he is.
it's a film with Jim Carrey in it. Like, it's like a complete comedy, and I was like, I just imagined like
Oh, I
Jigsaw is
never
actually just
noticed
Jim
that.
Carrey's character in this. Um,
Oh, wow, that must have took you out of it.
it really took me
It's
out
funny
of
because
it.
the actor he I've got a former colleague, a guy I used to work with, a spitting image of him as well. So I was like, oh, it was like it took me out of it a little bit as well. But
It was just yeah, I just liked to imagine just briefly like during it that this is actually like yeah, Jim Carrey's character from Liar Liar like actually is Jigsaw taking revenge on him for
yeah.
stealing his wife or something.
Um.
But obviously it isn't. Um
Anyway, yeah.
what a shame.
So they oh
They
yeah.
had a,
Okay.
yeah.
So they start. They're like getting to know their surroundings basically.
They have a
Um.
little bit of banter like he had Adam had like a quite a funny line I remember where he was saying like um oh yeah, like I just woke up in a bathtub, like if they have, I've seen this on the internet before, like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have
Do I have any
are you
scars?
gonna
Yeah.
wake up and next thing you know your kidneys are on eBay, and like I
Yeah.
don't know why he has a really funny way of saying that.
Yeah, yeah,
uh
yeah. There's some good humor in this. It's well written, I must say.
it is surprisingly somewhat funny for a film like
Yeah,
this.
and Adam delivers a lot of that. They search. He has to search the toilet at one point. One of my favorite lines. He's searching the toilet. He's got to plunge his hand in the shit. And Gordon says, "Oh, is there anything in there?" And he goes, "No
Yeah.
solids."
Yeah, it's like
Um,
no solids.
it's disgusting,
Yeah, and he
man.
has to check. Yeah, then
And
he's
then
like,
he
oh yeah,
reaches up into the
try checking the
cistern,
top.
finds a plastic bag with two saws in it. So,
Yeah, he's like, oh, I wish I checked that first.
yep, that's pretty, on the nose there. You've got literal, well, hacksaws in their hands.
Yeah,
Um,
do you reckon the name was a reference to that?
could have been, who knows? Um, anyway, so then at this point, okay, yeah, they're trying to like remember how they got there, and Gordon goes, "Oh, yeah, I think I know who got us," because they listen to the tapes, right?
Yeah, like, oh, this is
And
the Jigsaw guy.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, yeah, this killer." So then we have a flashback, and we have lots of flashbacks in this
Yeah,
franchise, ladies and gentlemen. We have flashbacks within flashbacks within
flashbacks
flashbacks.
galore, man.
Flashback Inception, man.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so the first flashback we have is back to the police, who are at the razor trap. So this guy, and this is the first saw trap we ever see. Basically,
Yeah,
it's a
the guy
guy
was
who
suicidal.
it's a guy, yeah, it's a guy who's self-harmed, and John Kramer believes it's not legitimate. The guy's just attention seeking, and
Yeah, John
so
Kramer set back depressed people.
puts him in a real trap. Um, do you wish this upon people who self-harm for attention, Henry?
No, because like when watching this, I was like, this is one of the things that hasn't aged well. I'm like, I mean, it's not like oh, this is like something as bad as like racism in like a previous film, but it's just like um, it's kind of like it's like a John Kramer has a very poor understanding of why people self harm and so on. It's like partly it is for attention, and partly it's just like I don't know manifestation of how they feel or something.
Mm.
Not speaking from personal experience, but it's like he's pretty cruel to put someone who's suicidal in like a fucking razor blade trap to be like, yeah, are you really suicidal? And it's like, yeah,
Well,
thanks,
that's John Kramer's
thanks, John.
message, man. Like, this is a chance to see
Enjoy
how
your life,
much.
guys.
Yeah, man. So this fat guy, he's got to like navigate his way through like a cage of razor barbed wire, basically, and escape to freedom, which of course he doesn't. So the
Yeah,
first saw trap we see is actually a failed one. Well, the guy doesn't succeed in escaping,
yeah.
and yeah, I think it's an interesting one that they started the. This is the very first saw trap we see, and it's like it's because it's fucked up, man. There's
Quite
really
basic. It's quite basic though as well in a way.
that's I think that's the beauty in most of the saw traps. They're pretty. A lot of them are very simple concepts, very basic ones, and this one for sure, yeah. It's a
Yeah, and
literal cage.
they also established the his little trademark where he like cuts a
Mm,
jigsaw piece out of him.
that's right.
Do you reckon he's got like a trophy room of them or something?
Never thought of that. Yeah, we don't see what he does with them, do we? Well, well, there we go. So the police are there, and he's like, yeah, he does this and that. Dr. Gordon explains that Oh, yeah. And then after that flashback, Dr. Gordon explains that actually, technically, Jigsaw is not a killer. You know, he just finds ways of making people kill themselves, basically, which
Yeah,
is.
but it's like I always found that one a bit weak. Where he's like, "Oh, I never killed anyone." It's like you put them in like a room where they have like a 99.9% chance of dying. And it's like, yeah, all right, Jigsaw, if you say so.
It's an interesting concept, though, yeah, because obviously they're going to address that later on in films where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, you know.
it's like saying like Batman doesn't kill people when he always does.
Yeah, but Batman does kill people. Like Jigsaw, like he just puts
Jigsaw
people in a
definitely
position
got a
to like,
couple people killed.
well, the Jigsaw philosophy is that you always have a chance if you he's testing the will to live, right? And if you have that, then you will, like you will survive the trap. And we see survivors later on in this film. We'll get to them.
Hmm.
Anyway, then we see the second saw trap, which is what I call the wax trap. So we have a guy
The wax trap.
bollock
Yeah,
naked in a room covered in the floor is covered in broken glass. He is covered in wax. There's writing all over the wall, and he's holding a candle. And there's a safe. This is a bit more of a complex
yeah.
trap for sure. Um,
I reckon like Jigsaw like spent some time actually smearing this guy up with like petrol or whatever it
yeah,
was,
yeah, it must
napalm.
have done. And this man's crime, Henry. You know what this guy was in there for?
I can't remember.
He called in sick for work. He called in sick. Faked.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Did Jigsaw get
He
paid by
faked.
this guy's employer or something?
I'm not joking. He pulled this. He was pulling sickies, man. And
Oh
Jigsaw, he
yeah,
was like, "Yo,
can't have
great."
you be unproductive, can we? Yeah.
So that's his crime. This is the thing. This is where John Kramer does come into a bit of. It's like, yeah, there's some very okay self harm. That's questionable. This is like, really like, oh yeah, this
Yeah,
man.
this is genuinely like maybe this actually is linked with the Batman universe. Like all the criminals are like gone, so he's just picking up whoever he can to torture.
It's
It's
anyway.
like, oh, it's kind of difficult to justify this one. Let's see what he found. Oh, he stole like a Kinder Egg as a kid from a shop. Like, let's get
Pretty
him for
brutal
that.
trap as well. This is one which is like, I think of all the ones that we see in this franchise, this is one of the hardest ones to actually get through. The guy didn't have a chance, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't know how you wouldn't bleed out straight away. The floor is covered in broken glass, and you're there, and it's like, first of all, that's bad enough. You're gonna bleed out, man. Your feet are cut to shreds,
Yeah,
man.
I get you get a little dustpan and brush first. You just put it all in the corner, then you start.
Although, I'm sure you could just like use the edge of your foot just to like make a clearing for yourself. That's what I would do.
Do you want to try?
Well, I'd rather not. I'd probably rather tackle the razor trap than this. We're gonna have to,
No, right.
like I
I
say,
just set myself on fire first thing.
we're gonna rank the traps later. So far, yeah, I think I'd rather be in the razor trap than this trap. The wax trap is terrible, man.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, to be fair, the bathroom itself is pretty bad. Like, it's just it's the
This is the
environment.
funny thing with this film. The bathroom is like not your traditional trap. I mean, yeah, the chains are the thing, but it's not like a traditional saw trap where you're on I mean, they actually are on a time limit, but you know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
more of a psychological torture, right?
yeah, it's true. It's an interesting one, but I mean, yeah. I think I would still rather be in the bathroom than this. This wax
Yeah,
trap is
at least in the bathroom,
fucking.
you could have some banter in your last hours.
Yeah, exactly. You're not alone. That's something. Anyway, John Kramer. Then we get another flashback where John Kramer. We get to see him in hospital. He's been diagnosed with cancer, inoperable brain tumor.
Hmm.
Zepp pops up. He's like, "Yeah, very interesting patient.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's just like, how do you get
remember
into this
my
hospital?
face?"
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
It's like, hey, are you do you really have a medical license, or do you like beat someone up and steal their uniform or something?
yeah, man. We get the police. They want to talk to
Yeah,
Dr. Gordon.
yeah, it's like, yeah, you definitely killed this guy.
Yeah, he's a suspect. This is why this flashback is happening because Gordon's explaining this to Adam, and we meet Amanda in the
Yeah,
bear
not
trap.
Amanda Waller.
This is the most famous saw trap, or infamous, I should say. Um, so straight away, you know, we're right in there. This film's hour and 43 runtime. Really gets you stuck
Yeah, you
in.
get your third trap already. Well,
Yeah, well,
fourth
fourth.
even.
Yeah. So we get the reverse bear trap, the classic saw trap, and this is a trap we go on to see, off the top of my head, three more times in the rest of the franchise.
Do you reckon he got
Uh,
like a discount if he bought three or something?
I always assumed it was the same one each
Oh
time.
yeah, well he's that much of a cheapskate. He bought one and just
I think
reused
John
it.
Kramer's not a cheapskate, man. These are very sophisticated, you know, feats of engineering that he's created here, man, out of
Yeah, I know, but yeah,
tempered
well,
steel, you know. Anyway,
I really wonder how he got all this set up and so on. Like
well,
that
they
guy.
explain that, and they explain that in a later film.
Yeah,
But
true.
I mean,
That
they
is true. To
explain
be fair,
everything. You know?
yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. They never let you stop.
so yeah, in this trap we see a lot of the classics. We see Billy the Puppet for the first time.
Didn't know he
Uh,
had a name actually.
yeah, you never hear the name much. That's apparently his name. Yeah, Billy the Puppet. The jigsaw puppet.
Yeah, I mean
So
Jigsaw or whoever's puppeteering it does a very good job actually.
yeah.
Like
I
it's
never
surprisingly
really picked up on
expressive, I
it, but he
think.
like turns his whole body to look at the. You remember, like on the recording
Yeah,
on the
like he
TV, yeah,
gestures
it's
and
like
so on and so
he
forth.
turns his like look over here, and then like demonstrate the reverse
Yeah,
bear
it's
trap.
like very
It's quite
human-like
animated.
movements.
It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's good puppeteering.
Yeah, even moving his little tricycle around and so on.
Oh yeah, man. Um,
We just
and we get the
Jigsaw
classic
just straight
line, you
up
know.
lies in this though. He just straight up lies during this to Amanda though.
What does he say?
Well, essentially it's just like, oh yeah, like everyone's heard it's like, oh Amanda. Like yeah, he just tells, oh yeah, Amanda, basically this reverse bear trap's gonna rip your head open. All you gotta do is get the key out of this dead guy's stomach, and the guy's obviously not dead, and
Well,
it's like, come on,
he was. Well, I think the only line in his message was that she had a minute to do it because she took 10 minutes opening that thing, man. Um, it's yeah. There's the guy, yeah, dead on the well, not dead. He's like
yeah, dead.
they go on. They explain he was pumped with opium, I
Yeah, an
think.
overdose. So
Yeah.
Jigsaw did kill him because regardless, he would have died.
Mm,
And
would
he
he?
basically forced us to kill him anyway.
I don't think he would have died from an opium overdose. I think he was just like out of it, you know, like probably would have woke up eventually. But yeah,
Sure.
she's in the
All
trap.
right, Jigsaw apologist.
Mate, no. Anyway, she's in the bear trap. She pulls the pin, so the timer starts going down, ticking on the back of her head.
Yeah,
So
that is
she
a
has
good
to
bit.
go like she's just given a scalpel. That's all to like open this guy up with.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's got a big question mark on his like
yeah, a
frothy
bit of Riddler
torso.
going on there.
Yeah,
I
Jim
wonder if
Jim
John
Carrey got in
Kramer
there.
and yeah,
Look,
Riddler.
that's another Jim Carrey reference you can get in there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, nice one, man. Um, well, anyway, yeah, man. So yeah, she fucking stabs him open and gets the key out of him. Yeah, and he wakes up at the last minute. He's like, oh, and she's like, fucking does it,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I've had. She's not like surgically opening him. She's just constantly stabbing him. I'm like, Yeah, you never
Yeah, with a
open him up like
scalpel.
that.
Yeah, not very efficient.
Clearly not a professional like Dr.
Clearly.
Gordon.
Oh, Dr. Gordon, he'd be all over that, man.
Yeah, the guy
Um,
would be in several pieces if my life was on the line.
so anyway, she eventually escapes from the trap. She gets the key out of him, and then we get Billy the puppet we get the jigsaw puppet on the
Yeah,
tricycle,
I love
and he
that bit.
delivers the iconic line: "Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you, not anymore."
Oh,
And
it's so good though. Like, I just
yeah,
love
it's
like the
like
fact it's like she's just like had this traumatic
yeah,
experience, well beyond traumatic, and then like the door swings open, you're like dreading it. It's just the little squeak of the puppet going
yeah,
along,
yeah. It's fucking amazing, man. It's in terms of how like it is just like so,
yeah,
and it's such a
it's
unique.
a summary of just like that whole
What I love
thing where
about
it's
this
just
film,
less
these
is
films,
more.
is it's so unique. You know, you never seen anything like this. It's a very different kind of horror film. You know, most horror films I think of, like, for example, that's another film I watched this week. I watched Halloween again, rewatched the original Halloween with Donald
Yeah,
Pleasance, and
and
yeah,
they got my interest.
yeah, and yeah, this, most horror films, they have certain tropes that they fall into, and it's
Yeah, Halloween, the guy's trying to kill the
repetitive.
same
Yeah,
person for 40 years.
Scream, etc. You got Paranormal Activity, Insidious. They deal with Saw films are very different in that they're quite unique, and I think that's why they're so compelling. I think that's why there's so many of them as well. In that
And really watchable.
yeah, and they're quite this is such an original film. Just the whole format of the victim surviving, and that's like their reward basically. They before she was a junkie. That was her crime, by the way. She was a junkie and didn't
Yeah, like how
appreciate life.
dare you?
Well, she didn't appreciate life. This is John Kramer rehabilitation, right? So, and
Yeah, he's not going to do it to a rich junkie. It always has to be a poor junkie, isn't it?
well, yeah, and this is the thing. Well, yeah, he's gonna get Jordan Belfort in a
Yeah,
fucking.
exactly.
Well, to be fair, he does go on to trial rich people as well, but we'll get
Yeah,
onto
that's
that.
true. Yeah,
Whereas
he
this is
learns to not be classist.
the important thing here is that we actually see Amanda. Obviously, she's giving her account in the police room, and she's actually like, yeah, Jigsaw helped me. She's like
Yeah,
actually
yeah. Dr.
rehabilitating
Gordon's
you.
on the
Like
other side
shit.
of the two-way mirror. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just like,
Yeah.
oh, interesting. The thing that I found funny as well, like, on the second time watching it, I was like, I knew who Amanda was in this series, but I just thought, like, when I heard "Hello, Amanda," I just thought, could you imagine like like the crossover of Jigsaw putting Amanda Waller in one of these and she just like roasting into killing himself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of two-way mirrors, back in the bathroom, Adam and Dr. Gordon, they discover that they're being recorded
yep.
behind a two-way
Right on
mirror
live
account.
leak right there.
Yeah, man. And we basically discover that. Oh yeah, so then we get another flashback, where Dr. Gordon's like, "Oh, I'm just remembering the last thing I said to my daughter." This is fucked up, man. Oh, this is
Yeah,
really
that's true.
fucked up.
Yeah, I remember
So
this scene scared the shit out of me, man.
yeah, this is like literally everyone's worst nightmare, man. Oh, it's
Someone in
fucking horrible.
Yeah,
So we
this,
get
I
Gordon.
think a horror film is good if it makes you look over your shoulder while you're watching it.
Yeah, man. If it like does realize like you're like a childhood terror, man, of seeing. Anyway, we'll get to, because the build up to it is Dr. Gordon's daughter. She's scared. She has a night terror, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
mummy," she
Yeah,
goes
they're
to her
not real.
mom. "Oh, there's a man in my room," and she's like, oh, "Okay, let's get daddy to help." And Dr. Gordon, we see him there. He's busy on 4chan.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
proper workaholic, man. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm breaking up with you. He's like, yeah, all right, yeah.
yeah.
Like just going at it.
He's a proper
What's he
job
even
though.
doing? Like
Oh, he's on
filling out medical
4chan for
reports.
sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, he's probably like, yeah, I hate my wife. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go do certain things which I can't explain.
fucking kids waking up again, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe I'm signed up for this shit.
fuck this shit, man. He's on a.
Yeah, he's one of the Riddlers. Like he's
Oh
signing up to one of
yeah,
these
yeah. He's
shows.
watching a Riddler live stream, man. That's what he's doing for sure.
Yeah, he's probably like, yeah. Anyway,
I reckon he's maybe on a Reddit chain with John Kramer. That's how he gets to know. They get to know
yeah,
each other.
that's how he gets his IP address and goes to
Discovered,
his
man.
ass.
so ungrateful, man. You wife and kid, fucking ungrateful, man. You're in my next. Anyway,
Yeah. You know, I
now
never had a
this is
wife.
a little bit of foreshadowing here that I picked up. You know, like with the rewatch failure, I noticed this. Right, you notice how when Gordon puts his daughter to bed, and he does the little piggy game with her toes,
Yeah.
and you know, pig's gone to be a very prevalent theme within the Saw franchise. You know, the pig
Oh
masks and
yeah.
pig traps, various ones we come on to. You know,
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
there's a little bit of like foreshadowing there with you know, the piggy game. And anyway,
Yeah,
so he puts
maybe.
it to bed, and then we see fucking there is a man in her room, and it's fucking
Yes.
Zep, just
Yeah.
the eye.
That's one thing. That's one thing I find. There's a good scene. Don't get me wrong, but like when she talk about, oh yeah, the Batman's in my room. It's like, oh yeah, yeah. It fails to mention, yeah, he's in the cupboard over there. He got right in. And I'm like, the guy. I mean, we don't see if he has a weapon on him, but if he just stood there in the closet, he's probably hoping. Yeah, I really hope they don't, check this or something, because he
Yeah,
could like if he came at him with a baseball bat, he'd be fucked.
Dr. Gordon didn't check shit, man.
Yeah, Dr. Gordon's probably got like weak ass fucking arms, man. Like you're probably gonna fought him anyway. Although again, Zep's a bit of a he's already
Well, Zep
dying
did
anyway.
well. We
So
do find out he does have a gun, but anyway.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And
maybe he probably fumbled it knowing him. Look at him.
yeah, and anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah they have that. Like yeah he gets the wife and kids while Gordon
right.
leaves.
Yeah, and you know what was weird for me is like obviously we see Zep, his eye looking through the fucking gap, which is
Yeah,
fucking terrifying. Even remembering that
yeah,
image, that still alone is just like proper, you know. And it's not usually that kind of scare that you would associate with Saw films, but it is like fucking
yeah.
oh
They just set it up so well.
yeah. And obviously as well, um, the thing for me is because obviously she starts screaming, the daughter, and then her mum comes up and obviously she has a bit of domestics with Doc's Gordon before, so he fucks off. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna work," you know.
Yeah,
Um,
she's like, oh man, like you don't even show any emotion anymore, and I'm like, yeah, never show any emotion. Dr. Gordon leading by example. There. He's like, I am happy. I just he's got like zero like change in facial expression when it comes
yeah,
to
he was
anything.
just watching Patrick Bateman comp, man. You know, he's like on his Sigma grind set. You know, he's like,
Yeah, he's just like on his like he's on his like sixth hour of the day watching Peaky Blinders or something.
definitely,
I
man,
don't know.
definitely. And he goes, yeah. So anyway, so the mum goes up. Is it Diana? Or no, that's the
Yeah.
daughter's name. I
No,
think her
Diana's
name's
the mum.
Ali,
Yeah.
Allison, or Alice. And she
Whatever.
goes,
Same thing.
yeah, she goes up, but then you see like Zep for some reason is covered in a blanket, and then he like
Yeah.
that was a bit weird.
He's getting his,
For
like,
sure, terrifying, but a bit strange.
got his little Halloween, costume going, the scary ghost
He's got
one.
his KKK costume, man. Like,
Yeah,
and
he's probably
uh,
been
and
yeah.
we actually see that Tap, Detective Tap, is watching the whole thing unfold as well. He's stalking Zep. Sorry, he's
Yeah.
stalking Doctor Gordon, and
Yeah, and
then
he
because he
happens to see
suspected
that.
it's layered, this film, man. The fucking plot is layered, man. We see Gordon's wallet. So we go back to the bathroom briefly. Gordon throws Adam his wallet to show him a picture of his family. Adam opens the wallet and then sees like a picture of his family gagged and bound, and it's like, oh fuck. Doesn't show that to Gordon initially.
Yeah, it's got a hint on the back basically saying, yeah, sometimes you
Makes more
see more with
sense.
your eyes closed, which means turn off the light. Don't close
Yep.
your eyes, you
Yep.
won't see anything, which is
Um,
always interesting.
and I've lost track of where we are in flashbackception, but we have one where
Yeah,
Detective Tap is discovers Jigsaw's basement, right? Where all the fucking it's Tap and
the
Singh,
Saw cave, one may say.
Detective Singh. So these two guys, yeah, they like they find because they're reviewing tapes from the fucking crime scene
Yeah, they
from
figured out there's a
Amanda's
fire
confession.
alarm.
Yeah, yeah. He hears the fire alarm in the background. And
Guy's
so
got
they
like some
go, and
fucking
he recognizes some gang graffiti, and so they
yeah.
work out where this shit's going down. So they go and fucking they go in the basement without a warrant, of course, and yeah, they stumble upon the drill trap. Kramer's not
Yeah,
in.
which is a bullshit trap. Like that guy couldn't have escaped.
I'm sure John Kramer had a
Like even giving them the chance of having like someone behind them with all the keys to open it. Yeah, there
yeah,
was no
but I
chance
mean
to be able to find them.
that was prematurely interrupted. That trap
Yeah,
had a plan,
that one
right?
was no way of getting out. Like it was
Yeah,
literally
because there
impossible.
was no set of given the fullness of time without interruptions, John Kramer
What
would
would it, what would
have.
John Kramer have given him like a little fishing rod to like, hook
Well,
up
who
the
knows?
keys or
We'll
something?
never know. We'll never know. But there would have been a recording, and then we'd have discovered why that guy was there, and we
Yeah,
don't have any context for this.
it's like, hello,
So
John. There's no way out of the trap.
yeah,
Die. That's it.
it's a fucked up trap, though. I mean, we'll never know exactly. Unfortunately, we'll never know the context of what that would have been in its fullness. But we know it's a drill going into each side of his fucking skull, so that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um, the detectives they initially try and because it's quite tense because they're like pulling up these they when they walk in everything's covered in red drapes, right? So they're like throwing things up and they find
Yeah,
Billy the
there's a little like
yeah,
diorama of the
yeah, yeah.
the
Bathroom,
bathroom which I
very
really
cool,
liked.
very cool miniature there, and then they open up, yeah, and then they discover the guy in the drill trap, um, and then they hide as they hear the lift coming up. Um, and this is the first time we see John Kramer, even though we don't see his face, we just see him like hunched over, like limping, sort of, and he's like, yeah, Um,
I thought it was Zepp at this point.
no, no, that's John, obviously. We
I
actually
don't
it
know. I
goes on
thought he
to
could have literally just been Zepp in the garment. That's how I've always seen it.
yeah, but what do you think? Do you think that was Zepp's voice?
Yeah, but could John Kramer really run that fast?
Yeah, the voice is the giveaway, man. The thing about John Kramer is he looks old, but he's not. So anyway,
Yeah, he's got like some. I don't
So
know.
anyway,
You
the
never know.
police are like, yeah, they're like trying to get. So he starts the trap when he realizes he's been cornered. So he starts the trap and he's like, oh, what do you want? You want to save this man or you want to arrest me? Which is it going to be? So gives them they have a choice. They obviously try and save the guy. While they're doing that, John Kramer. This is where he is a fucking killer, man. Or at least he a failed killing attempt. He fucking knife out of his wrist and slits the guy's throat, man. Taps throat.
Yeah,
And
was he
like
planning that? Like,
yeah,
he
like
must have seen
I
this
think he
coming.
has millimeter precise precision, not just enough to like not kill him, or I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
the
Like
guy had a shotgun pointing down at him the whole time, and I was like, yeah,
no, but like John Kramer's not. That's his thing. He's not a killer, but then he fucking slit the guy's throat. So
yeah, exactly.
you know,
No, but I mean,
just
like,
lucky that he didn't die at that moment.
Detective Tapp could have like easily shot him in the head right there, but
Yeah, but
I
then
don't know.
that would be the end of
Maybe
the
maybe he's
franchise,
like
wouldn't it?
been so delirious from like staying up all these nights. His reaction time is like halved or something, or doubled. Yeah,
Well, anyway,
yeah. Regardless, his neck is
So
slit.
anyway, doesn't kill Tap. Yeah, he's holding his neck. So Singh goes to pursue the kid John Kramer. By the way, the cloak that he's wearing was actually turned inside out. So fun fact there.
Huh.
Um,
Nice to know.
that black and red one. So anyway, Singh goes to pursue him, but then he falls in. Well, he actually does shoot. He shoots Kramer, who like stumbles down, but then as he goes to like close him down, he fucking walks into like it's not even a saw trap. It's just like fucking some Indiana Jones shit, man. Like
Yeah.
loads of guns pointed down that
It's
just
almost, yeah,
blast.
it's almost like if someone got a Tom and Jerry trap and put it in real
Yeah,
life. Like,
literally. But
it's like,
far
I
more,
really hope you appreciated your life after that. Like,
yeah, far more
I don't know.
gruesome. Um,
Yeah, it was gruesome to be fair. It's like you
yeah,
get,
super. But it didn't. Joke aside, it did remind me of Indiana Jones. At the very beginning of the first film when
yeah, I know what
Sapito,
you're
I think his name is the guy who plays Doc Ock. When he dies, going through the thing, and you see his fucking. For some reason, it reminded me of that. Just the way it's in the corridor. I don't know. But
yeah, he
anyway,
has a,
Yeah, John
yeah,
Kramer.
John Kramer has like a boulder ready to come down the stairs.
Yeah, of course we don't know it's John Kramer, but the audience doesn't know at this point. But anyway, so then we're back in the bathroom, and we discover that X marks the spot. Another Indiana
Mhm.
Jones reference there, actually. And so they turn off the lights and they see in fluorescent paint where the X is. They open it up. There's a box in there with some cigarettes, a couple other bits and bobs.
Yeah, a poison cigarette. Oh, I know, a cigarette that you can poison.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching Breaking Bad. That's why.
There's a bullet as well there, and a
Yeah, for the
phone.
revolver.
There's a
Yeah.
phone, right, as well, but can only have inbound calls. And then we get another flashback. We get to Gordon, Dr. Gordon, flashback in the car park with the worst acting ever, man. When he's there and he's like
Yeah,
that, you know,
exactly.
and then gets the photograph
Yeah,
taken.
it's like, oh, and then the guy gets the perfect time just to like get snap a shot of him, like lights up the entire room, like like a sign from heaven, and then he like, oh, I wonder what just happened.
I know the circumstances of the actual context of this film is like pretty intense, and who knows how you'd act in that. But I wasn't really convinced. The actor for Dr. Gordon wasn't very good, for want of a better word. I mean, a lot of people would have criticized Adam, the guy who plays him, for like his overacting, but he was a lot more convincing for me than Dr.
He
Gordon's
does.
acting. It was
I think his
a
overacting.
little bit dodgy sometimes.
It's not. I mean, when rewatching this, I was like, I remembered I actually remembered it as worse than I actually, found it to be after re-seeing it. I was like, this is still a good film.
It's a good film. I
It's
think, yeah,
enjoyable.
it's probably a bit dangerous to watch it too many times because then you really start noticing a lot of like, it's not
Yeah.
a perfect film by any stretch, but
Yeah, just the top trip. Yeah, the top tip for watching this film is only watch it twice.
yeah.
It'll stay good
Um,
forever.
but anyway, so yeah, in the car park. So
He gets his picture taken, and then
here's
he's
the
like,
picture
"Oh, what
taken.
happened?" And
Yeah.
he dips.
Um, and then we get to see Gordon's. Okay, so then we get to see Gordon is shown. Adam finally shows Doctor Gordon a picture of his family who's tied up. So he's like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing to them?" You know. And
Yeah, and
they
Adam's like, "I didn't do this."
he starts panicking, right? So because obviously as well, he's got until 6 o'clock to kill Adam, right? That's his game. Um, and so what they do is they think outside the box. They do a bit of like smart plan where they turn off the lights. They make a plan. They're like, oh yeah, you know, you still want that cigarette? Oh yeah, I'd love that cigarette. And then
Yeah,
he
because
does the
he dips one in the poison blood from the corpse in the middle.
right.
Yeah,
But he doesn't. He gives Adam
yeah,
a
he's got the
fake.
other one.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
gives him a clean cigarette. There is such a thing, and Adam does like this really bad like fake death, you know, reminiscent of Uncle Albert in the you know, in Only Fools and Horses, that episode where they get stuck in the shop. He does the
yeah, I
fake
know the
death.
one.
It's like reminiscent of that, man.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really yeah, that's very right.
anyway, so he tries to fake his death, but then he gets tasered, man. He gets zapped back to life, man. Today, so you know the rules are very much
It's
enforced
the
in this game.
rules.
It's the rules.
Yeah,
That's right. So that plan fails. Then we get a Adam flashback. So now we're getting to
yeah. Adam
discover.
conveniently remembers. Yeah, Adam remembers what happened when the script requires him to.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's the zap. You know, obviously that zapping like
Yeah, yeah,
pulls his
exactly.
memory
Maybe
back.
his life flashed before him, and then he thought, "Oh yeah,
We
yeah." The
yeah
Saw films never
we
leave it
uh, we
out.
get a look at his shitty apartment in his own words, and this is really interesting. I don't know. Like he's obviously in this shitty well yeah like I said shitty apartment, and he's developing photographs. We find out he's a voyeur. He's a stalker basically. He, like takes pictures of people for money, um, including Dr. Gordon of course,
Hmm.
and he's trying to navigate. What I like is because he falls asleep in the red room where he develops his pictures, and then he
Yeah,
wakes up, and there's no electricity, there's no lights, right? And it's cool, and I can't remember for the fucking life of me. I know I've seen this somewhere else. I don't know. I can't remember which film it was before or after, but a guy navigating with
a
a
camera.
an old school camera which flashes, or maybe it was just this
Oh
film.
man, that. I'm gonna say I remember watching this. Like this is probably the scariest scene in the whole film because I remember. Oh, it was years ago. Like there was a horror game where based on a similar premise where you can only navigate with like an old school camera and like
What game is that?
I can't remember for the life of me what it was. There's so many
This
of them.
this is, I think we must be thinking the same thing because I can't remember either, but I know I've seen this
It's
concept
like
before.
because it's like it's the
It
dual
is a
thing.
game.
It's the dual thing of like it's a
Is it Five
split
Nights at
second.
Freddy's?
No, it's not fun. That's a phrase. No, you can't do that. Well, that might be one of the later games. I'm not sure, but it's not that. You have like a flashlight in those. Um, but it was yeah,
I've
it's the
seen it
fact that
before somewhere as well, but anyway,
it's the
it
fact that
does
you
set up
have
a really good horror premise, man.
yeah, it's like you have a split second to look at everything, but at the same time it reveals where you are, like really obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
you've got no music. The only sound effect is the camera, and it's just so like the little whine from it, like
yeah, going
process.
higher
It's
and
like
higher.
proper. Yeah, it has you really on edge, man.
Yeah, he's got the little Billy the puppet, yeah, in his
Yeah, he
chair,
sees the
just beats it
puppet
to death.
first, which starts laughing as well. This is
Yeah,
where we hear it laugh for the first time, which is fucking scary as well. And then, of course,
he beats it to death.
we
Yeah.
have a jump scare. Oh yeah, that's right.
It
Yeah,
was so yeah, that's the thing. The first time I saw this, and the second time I saw this, I was like, Adam is fucking stupid. He must like, be like, he must have like barely be able to just walk straight after waking up. But like, he comes up to this door. He's like, "Oh, who's in there?" Because he could hear someone in there. And then he goes up to the door, gets camera in one hand, bat in the other, and he's like, I'm gonna open the door, stand right in front of it, and take a shot. Like you'd get some distance beforehand, or you just just go swinging
but did you
wildly.
not shit yourself when you first saw this?
Yeah, I did.
Oh mate, fucking
It was frustrating. It was in a way sometimes in horror films, it's like it's scary at the same. It makes it scarier when they're doing something like stupid because
I
it's
think
like,
it's just
oh, don't do
the
it.
anticipation and the dread, you kind of
Yeah,
have to see. You it, you
you
know,
can't look away.
yeah, you just have yeah, exactly. Very well done. Especially like the build up to it because he sees the puppet. I forgot, this is the third or fourth time I've seen it, and I forgot he sees the puppet first, and the puppet starts laughing, and he fucks up the puppet, and then you see the guy in the pig mask. Proper fucked up shit, man. Um, so yeah, then the phone rings. So we're back in the bathroom. Dr. Gordon's phone rings finally, and it's his wife on the other line at gunpoint, and she just tells him, don't believe Adam's lies, basically. And
Yeah,
so that's
fully
what Dr.
instructed. Yeah.
Gordon's quite a generous guy, though, man. I mean, even at this point, he still like doesn't seem to be judging or have any prejudice against Adam. He seems like he doesn't want, even though his family's life is on the line, and this guy's a complete stranger. He's like, I never believe up until very late that he wants to kill Adam or that he
Yeah,
intends to at all. He seems like he'll do anything but try it, but kill him, which is,
yeah.
admirable, I would say.
Well, for a
Um,
doctor, you'd hope so.
well, yeah, true. Um, so then he starts, but at this point he starts questioning, like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, it's like yeah, like yeah, because she mentioned the fact that he knows him,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then he's like, yeah, how do you know me? But he shares the fact that my wife said not to trust you or anything you say. How do you know me, by the way? Might want to mention that.
Yeah, I think Dogs Gordon could have been a bit more intelligent with like how he went about quizzing Adam there, but
Yeah,
doesn't
if it
matter.
was me in the trap, you see, I would do
Dogs
this.
Gordon's an honest Joe, man. That's got to respect that.
Yeah, I literally wrote down a note which I have no idea what it means. I just wrote "Good Guy Doc,"
He is, man.
referring to
That's what he is,
something. I
man.
think it was this.
Um. So anyway, well, he's not such an honest Joe though, because turns out he's having an affair, or he tried to, and this is why
Yeah, it
Adam
was
knows
really
about him.
confusing what he was trying to do here. Like,
So yeah, the truth comes out basically. Adam was being paid by Tap to stalk Dr. Gordon. 'Cause Tap still believes that Dr. Gordon is the
yeah,
jigsaw killer, right? And instead, it turns out that this guy, he's trying to cheat on his wife, but
or is he?
doesn't have the guts to follow through with it. So they're in like the shitty motel room together. We get a really funny line from Adam. It's like, I don't care if you smothered yourself in peanut butter and had a 15 man gangbang, Um, but
Yeah,
doesn't look
Adam
good for
doesn't
Dr.
judge.
Gordon. Huh?
Adam doesn't judge, you know.
Nah, Adam, he's just there for the money, man. But yeah. So Tap's been paying Adam to do this, to follow Dr. Gordon. Um, and of course, Dr. Gordon, so he throws in the pictures, and one of which has a photograph of Zepp. And he goes, I know that guy, shit. And then this is where a lot of things start unfolding. We're coming towards the end of the film already.
Yeah.
Basically, the time runs out. 6 o'clock has come up. So
Yeah, no, yeah,
Zepp's,
because he says like he like name drops Zepp. He's like, yeah, I know it's you. He's pointing the camera, and Zepp's like, oh shit, oh well, yeah, the time's
yeah,
gone to 6 anyway. I better go away.
yeah. Um, the
There's
time runs out.
something
Sorry,
else I want to mention
go
quickly
on.
with Doctor Gordon. He sometimes I don't know if he's trying to do an accent or a voice or something. Sometimes when he swears, it's really funny. He's like, "You
Yeah,
bastard!" Like I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what
I
he's
know, I
doing.
know. Yeah, you're right. He's a funny
He's like,
accent, isn't
"I'll kill you," and I'm like, "This isn't the Carrie Elwes I knew from Liar Liar," but you know,
it? Yeah, he has got. Yeah, yeah. That got me as well a couple
yeah,
of
he's
times.
gonna
Yeah.
get him with the claw. Um,
Um. But anyway, yeah. So the time's run out. So Zepp goes over to kill Dr. Gordon's family, but the family, sorry, the mum got loose. So she, she's like, he first of all he's like, yeah, you've got to go and tell Dr. Gordon that he failed, and then she does, but then she starts fighting. Basically, she takes Zepp by surprise, fights him, gets the gun off him. Tap is watching all this unfold from his apartment, and he sees gunshots. He's like, all right, I need to get the fuck down there myself.
yeah,
Um, so then we get basically a three-way fight here between Tap, Zepp, and Allison. Um,
Diane, yeah, yeah. The daughter comes in with the arcade. Yeah,
yeah. And then obviously a lot of shit goes on here. Zepp gets stabbed in the thigh with a pair of scissors.
yeah.
Tap gets
Tap gets
shot,
shot, I think.
and Diana and Ali they get away.
Yeah they did.
They're
Yeah,
okay.
no, then it's just Tap and
So
Zeb
then
tripping over each
Zepp's
other.
limping off to go and kill Dr. Gordon, and Tap's pursuing him. We get a car chase. Do you want to know how
Yeah,
they
very
film this
funny
car
car
chase?
chase. Yeah,
Sorry?
yeah, it's a funny looking car chase because they're not moving, are they? In
No, the
reality,
cars are stationary, and that was created by like people shaking the cars like from either side, and like
yeah, they couldn't afford
someone
the
running with a
petrol.
light down the side to and
It's like yeah, like looking back on it, it's like it's a really weird. Some of the editing in this is really weird, but it's kind of you accept
yeah,
it
it's
almost. It's
within
almost
context. It's actually like it adds more than subtracts from what's going on. It's like,
it's just
whoa,
like
it's weird, but
yeah, well, in one way it's like oh this is kind of goofy looking and funny, but at the same time it's like yeah I can ride with this,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, it's like it
It's
just
it's a
adds, and
little
it's
bit.
just the most low budget car chase you've ever seen. But
Yeah. It's
that's
just enough. It's just over the top, but just to the right spot. You know, to
yeah,
the point where it's like, yeah, I'll sit with this.
and that's the charm with these films, and we'll get on to eventually the latter ones. And I think what's this film would not have been anywhere as good or iconic with a bigger budget. It's
Yeah,
sometimes films end up being better
the
when
lower one.
there's a low budget because they're forced to be creative,
Yeah,
and
exactly. It's
there's
like
a lot of evidence of that with this film.
hmm.
Um, anyway, um,
Yeah, they keep. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening at the same
so
time.
there's a car chase, and then basically they're getting into the basement, or Zepp's going down. Zepp has a bit of has a fight with
Another fight with
Tap.
Doctor. Yeah, with Tap, not Doctor Tap.
Tap gets shot. Eventually, he gets killed in this like really crappy fight. In the meantime, Gordon gets electrocuted himself. He gets zapped. Um, he can't because and then the phone rings. He's trying to answer the phone, but it's just out of his reach.
Yeah,
This
yeah. I will say.
basically, and then he basically snaps. He loses it, man.
Yeah, so this is the thing that I found
The time's
really.
gone as well. 6 o'clock has gone.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, it's the thing that I found really dumb. Like, he's going like bonkers, man. He's trying to he's like because the phone's just out of his reach, and he thinks his family might have been killed, or maybe that he hasn't. And this is what he needs to find out. And then I'm just thinking to myself, like, he can't quite reach it. He's trying to use a box or something. I'm like, and then he starts taking off his shirt, and I'm like, oh great, he's going to use his shirt to get the phone, obviously, because that's how they got the tape recorder or whatever at the beginning as well. Um, and it's like, oh, he's going to make a tourniquet to saw his foot off. I'm like, yeah, that seemed like the most logical next step here. The guy has been found out, like, and is running off and so on. And like, there's like he might have been apprehended by now. Might as well lose one of my most important, parts of my body. But
He doesn't know that though, man. You got to put yourself in his shoes.
if I was in his shoes,
You'll
I'd have
pardon the
taken my shirt
expression.
off first.
Yeah, but man, he's like he thinks his family's gonna die. He heard like gunshots and stuff over the phone. He's lost it, man. He snapped. He's like, fuck it, He like
Nah, wouldn't have been me.
I don't know, man. He starts sawing his foot off. There's
Hmm.
just no other way to say that, man. It's fucked up. Adam is like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Um,
At this point, this is where like a slight hole in his acting, where it's like, yeah, man, you got to stop. Just don't do it. And it's like on the he'd be terrible on a suicide hotline, man.
yeah, it's fucking terrifying though, man. It's
Yeah,
like really fucked up. They did a great job on like the makeup. It's kind of really obvious that he's got like this white powder on his face, but it's like it
it's
doesn't take
pretty
it. It's
good.
like yeah, it just like he's like white in the face, man. It's like he's just fucking sawing his foot off, man. Really fucked up. As you say, he saws his foot off. He gets the gun. He shoots Adam. We think Adam's dead. He shoots him like
Yeah,
as it turns out in the shoulder. Zepp comes in, but it's too late. Basically. So Zepp's just about to kill Adam. It's the rules, he
yeah,
says.
it's the rules, guys.
And then this is great. Like Adam comes out of nowhere, rises from the dead, man, gets the fucking cistern seat, beats Zepp
Yeah,
to death with it.
that's such a good. It's like almost satisfying. Like he
Yeah,
beats him so much with it, like it snaps in half. And you can see like it gets bloodier and bloodier as it goes on, but
yeah, fucked up shit, man.
it's a
Adam
proper
kills Zepp.
visceral killing, man.
Gordon is like, shit, man. Sorry for shooting you earlier, mate. I'm gonna go get help now.
Yeah, he's
Um,
gonna slink off, worm style.
yeah, fucked up, man. He's like, yeah, I'll get help. I promise I'll be back. And then he goes, his last word is like, I wouldn't lie to you. Something like that. And then he, like, yeah, drags himself off. And then, ladies and gentlemen,
Get
we
the
have,
reveal of the century here.
I think that is no understatement. This is
It
one
is
of the,
such a cool revelation, man. I remember watching this the first time. Get a
for
little
me, this
Saw
is one of
theme
the
going.
best endings and plot twists of any film ever, to be
Yeah,
honest
like
with you.
that's no joke as well.
Fucking iconic. It's crazy, man. The music is just like
Just
obviously this iconic soundtrack
yeah,
composed by Charlie Closer. Um, he composed the soundtrack like he had like no time to do it as well. Obviously, like with the rest of this film, very constrained. But like one of the most iconic soundtracks as well of like in certainly in the horror film genre. But anyway, Adam, because Adam's basically he's looking for he's searching Zepp's he's searching Zepp and he finds his tape and then we get Hello Zepp, that's the name of the soundtrack. And this is where it all unfolds. It's like you've got a slow coursing thing in your vein. There are rules, da da
yeah.
da. And as Adam is playing this tape, he fucking looks over, does the most like horrified face of all time. And fuck anyone who says this is overacting. I would like to see you in this situation
Yeah,
where you see the
exactly.
guy dead on the floor the whole
He's been
time, and
dead
then
for the last 8 hours.
fucking starts standing up and stretching and shit, man. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
so
can you imagine
fucked up.
imagine cracking your back after that, He does like a little bit of
Yeah.
like a ooh.
Bit
Yeah.
trivia. Um,
Hmm.
they couldn't afford a dummy for this, so Tobin Bell actually laid down there for
Yeah, I remember that as well. It's good.
all
It's
the
good bit
shots. Yeah,
trivia. I
what
mean,
hero?
there's also the thing if people didn't know this already, it's probably one of the more well known ones. the fact that the budget was so tight they had to be gentle with the saws
Yeah,
when
yeah,
there's
yeah.
cutting, so that they didn't actually break them because they couldn't afford to replace them.
Yeah, crazy, crazy stuff,
Which you
man.
wouldn't think, because they do batter them about quite a bit in this, out of
Yeah, true, true.
frustration and so on.
Um, but yeah, fucking John Kramer was there the whole time with the. He's controlling the taser as well because Adam's about to shoot him and he fucking zaps him.
Yeah, it really it really solidifies what the detective says near the beginning, where it says Jigsaw likes to
Yep.
book himself front row seats. He's literally in the center of the room, like
It's
such a good point.
fucking mad. It's fucking mad. We get a montage, of course, as well of like, and this straight, just this super short, super quick cuts from like the whole film, basically.
Hmm.
We get the line again. Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you anymore. Not you, not anymore. Game over. Fucking slams the door shut. The music, the screaming, man,
Yeah,
mad,
ends
mad,
on Adam screaming.
mad, fucking mad, mate.
Such a good ending, man.
One of the best endings of all fucking time, man. Um, Crazy, fucking crazy, man. Fucking brilliant. Like what a plot twist as well. And you get quite a few here,
Yeah,
because obviously you get the initial one, which is like Adam doesn't die, he fucking kills Zep, and then it's like I don't know, man. Then John's like right in the middle of them the whole time. It's fuck it. And what is it's hard like for a fan of this franchise to like remember the first time. And the thing is, for me, that I think this film like never the plot twist never really worked for me because I'd seen the other films before this one, so like I kind of knew that Jigsaw was there the whole time. But you gotta remember, for an audience, this film basically leads you on to think that Zepp is the villain the whole time, right?
yep.
Um,
Even
because
at
you
one
never
point,
see
it
his
makes you
face
think.
until the end. It's like
Yeah.
very cleverly cut away. You never see his eyes. It's just his chin or whatever. Um, and then it turns out to be fucking this guy in the middle of the room. And we
Yeah, it's an
basically
old
we,
dude, man.
we don't see John Crane at all in the whole film, apart from this moment where he goes, "Oh yeah,
And
the
also
key
him the
to a
whole
chain is in
time.
the bathtub." From right at the beginning, by the way.
Yeah,
That's explained as well in a later film, but it's just for like an ending to a film. Game over. Fucking slams the door shut. It's like this green lighting as well, just coming through this fucking shitty
yeah.
bathroom. Amazing, man. Just like fucking brilliant. So
That's Saw.
that was Saw, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're gonna rank the 4 categories that we have. So we're gonna start with the worst trap, I think. So what did we have here?
The
We had the
worst.
razor trap, the wax trap, the drill trap.
Reverse
That's
bear
two
trap.
two two genres of music there, drill and trap there.
Yeah,
You've got
the reverse bear
the first
thing.
bear trap, and you've got the actual bathroom itself. So which one of these, Henry, would you least want to be in
Oh,
yourself?
this is the most terrifying trap,
The
really.
worst trap, yeah, the worst
Yeah,
trap.
when you said the worst trap, I thought, well, we're not going to say which one's just shit. The most
And when I
terrifying
say the
trap.
worst trap, the one you would least want to be in yourself.
The bathroom, I would definitely say it's not the worst one because like that presents a lot of opportunities. I think the what's the worst out of this? Probably reverse bear trap. That's like horrific, man. Although like the way out of it is simple ish. Like it's not like you have to do anything particularly difficult. I mean, you do have to slice a man open, but it's not like he's going to resist you or anything. Um,
I think that's the easiest one, actually.
yeah, exactly. It's not that difficult on paper, at least. If you're willing to get your hands a bit, Um, the worst one would be to be in is the drill trap because you literally can't get out of it even with
There's a
assistance.
bit of an asterisk mark next to that one because we don't really know how that was set up and how he would have had a chance to escape from it
It's the
had.
candle. It's definitely the candle one
I
now.
think it's got to be the wax trap, man. That fucking
That's yeah, the wax trap. It's just
no way.
impossible. Like
There's
it's just
no way out of it.
unfair.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a pretty bad way. Like at least the reverse bear trap, I suppose it would kill you instantly. That one you
Yeah.
burn to death, man. That's pretty bad. And you're naked, so that's never good.
Yeah, true. Even worse.
So we're putting the wax trap as our worst trap from
Our
Saw
most
1.
feared trap. Yeah.
Yep, that will go into the finals against the worst from the other films. Um, we have. Let's do the most Sigma quote. What did you have?
At the very beginning, during when Adam gets the tape out of his pocket, it's like, oh, Jigsaw basically explains like why he thinks Adam's a piece of shit because he has to, roast every single person beforehand. He says he describes him as angry yet apathetic, but mostly just pathetic, which is just like just like shits on Adam like right after he just put him in a bathtub, and it's like I don't know, just to belittle someone like that is, I think, relatively Sigma out of all the lines you get here.
Yeah, the only, I mean, yeah, we just made it up. So I think Dot
Exactly.
scored on 4chan and then like leaving the house to cheat on his wife. After failing to adequately check his daughter's room. For stalkers. But yeah, maybe not. That's
Yeah,
just
that's
deadbeat
too
dad.
that's too long.
So yeah, okay, we'll go along with that. Um, then what were the other two categories we had? Oh, the ending. I mean, obviously this is gonna go number one.
Easily number one, man. I mean, it has
And
to for starters anyway, but this one probably won't ever get topped.
that's a tough one because the real trademark of all of these films is that they all have really strong, compelling, unexpected endings.
This is a good
Um,
start, though.
oh yeah, but for
We'll
sure
we'll
this is
see.
like
We'll see. I guess we'll
we'll
see.
see how it gets on. But
Yeah,
oh yeah, amazing.
a lion
Um,
storm.
and of course the film itself, Saw is number one for now, and we'll see how we like the other films, how they stack up against this one. But certainly a trailblazer. Henry, it's gone past midnight where I am, so happy Halloween.
Thank
Um,
you.
and yeah, that's Saw. So I guess that's it. Pretty quick, relatively speaking, compared to last week, 4.5 hour episode.
Yeah.
Final words from you, Henry, on Saw.
Well, I mean, this is the same thing with Joker. Actually, this is not something to be not something to be followed for any people who enjoy gore videos. Perhaps don't go look out for the local abandoned buildings to put people in, even if you do have a lot of spare time.
Indeed. Well, wise words there from Henry as always.
Yeah, I'm trying to get myself off the list.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. We're going to review Saw 2. So
Yeah, what a
share
surprise.
this amongst your mates and pals and fellow fans of the Saw franchise. They're people of good taste, let me tell you. So we'll be back next week with Saw 2, and make sure you give some feedback, leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff,
Yep.
and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.